I traveled to Damn Good Barbecue, the best new barbecue joint in North Carolina, to do my very first whole hog cook.
The thing that separates like North Carolina from everywhere else is whole hog. So here we cook the whole animal and we cook primarily hog. And so when we started getting started, what barbecue do you want? And they're like, barbecue. And they're talking about whole hog. That's what really defines North Carolina barbecue is pork. So it's all pork, very pork.
Here we are sitting at 8:54, but it's all for the love of the barbecue. That's what it's for the people.
Have you ever been a part of like a whole hog cook before?
I have never done a whole hog cook. I've never seen one done, so this is a learning experience for me. Hopefully maybe I'll be able to use it in the future for myself one day. So.
Pretty boy.
Down there?
Yeah, it is. I see it. Dude, that's,
you want to touch it?
That's pretty gruesome.
This is as fresh as it gets, baby.
And this is not just some really fresh and super high quality when it's done.
Because you can't really take a whole hog and like put it in a warming oven, so you kind of have to do it overnight. It's like very nostalgic to like, you know, everyone's experience doing barbecue for the first time and, you know, staying up for, you know, 24 hours straight trying to get, you know, the barbecue done. Like I'm definitely getting that vibe and just kind of like the silliness and the looseness that comes out between the people because, you know, you're sleep deprived, and I'm really enjoying this experience so far.
You want to crack my back real quick, Ant?
I can.
You got it? Yep. We lost the trotter. That's a big hog. So the BQ is pretty diverse. So it's a direct heat pit. So you got to treat it like you would a grill. There's going to be direct heat coming off of those coals. That's not really going to be. We did pork steaks. I burnt half of them. And the same thing with chicken. I burnt half of them because it's like the temperature was only 250, but like the heat coming off those coals was probably 400. But I really like the direct heat because it's a very different experience. You get a different flavor on the outside from the coals and the heat, but it still has that kind of smoking aspect to it.
And with the hog on the BQ grill, Nick is coating the skin side with a ton of salt. This salt is just to dry out the skin so it gets nice and crispy. As it cooks, it's just gonna flake off, so it actually won't get into the meat and oversalt it. And of course, you cannot do a cook on a BQ without the burn barrel, which provides the charcoal needed to cook this hog.
In my opinion, you really need to have a burn barrel, like accompanied with the BQ. Even like the best store-bought lump charcoal you could buy, it's not gonna replicate what the burn barrel can do. You get a real nice clean, little bit of smoke, but it burns really hot. And so you get a nice, good heat from it.
You have to be very cognizant of where the coals are under the pig. So basically the way that they have it oriented is they have like two rows of coals, and the coals are right under the shoulder section, which is also known as the pork butt, and then also the hams, which are like the legs of the pig. And you have the coals right there, and then that's basically blasting heat those two areas to make sure that it's fully cooked once the whole hog is done.
So is there as you're shoveling it in there, you'll see kind of like the color of them, if they're red or if they're orange or if they're black. When you shovel them in there and you got your dampener set right and you kind of control the airflow, kind of like the offset, you know, you want nice slow flames on an offset. You do not want to see color coming off a lot of your coals. When they're fresh, they'll be like that, but they'll kind of calm down a little bit.
Checking around to make sure the skin's starting to release. You can start to see it's doing it maybe just a little bit. Right here in the front. Big hands to shoulder.
Yeah, this is a very laborious process.
Yeah,
This is a lot of work.
14 hours.
I think what's like most interesting about this style of cooking, because it's very different than Texas style where you're like cooking in an offset. So obviously offset cooking is like indirect cooking, and with this it's direct heat cooking. So like the coals are right under the meat, and that's what's cooking the hog. Like it's very systematic. You know, you grab the coals down low, and then you put them inside of the smoker. You put the fire on top of the burn barrel, it burns down the coals, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So it's a very involved process versus like a brisket where it's like you set the fire, run it nice and smoky, and then you don't really do much. Much more labor goes into this, which is also fun. So when we first started cooking the whole hog, we pretty much had the whole Damp team here. Nick was here, Bryce was here, Perry was here, and they all kind of like helped out to get the lights going so that we can actually see what we're doing out here, and also to get the pig onto the pit. As of right now, Hunter's left, who does the night cook, and then also really awesome because again, I've never done whole hog myself, so I'm learning a lot and I'm just asking it.
Once everything's put together, and the way you get the ribs and the butts and everything, and all the way that fat just combines everything, that's my favorite part. And I do like, it's a nice process to be out here cooking. It's fun.
So how long have you been doing whole hog?
Me myself, a couple years, but I think I've said, like, my family, we grew up around this area, Eastern barbecue. That's just a thing. So
as I've, been in barbecue for like a few years, like whole hog has been something that has always intrigued me for sure. But it wasn't until this last summer when I went to Ray's Barbecue, Raul Ramirez, one of the owners, he was telling me how whole hog is his favorite type of barbecue. So he also introduced me to Cheerwine, would get that experience that made Raul say that this is his favorite barbecue. So
I guess what's the hardest part about doing this?
the hardest part about whole hog's flipping it when it's time to flip it. That's the hardest part. What, this is gonna be about a 180 pound hog. By the time it's cooked down, we're still at probably 150 pounds at least. It being hot and then sitting there trying to rotate that thing, and then don't mess it up because we don't want to mess up any of the meat. You don't want to let it get too tender before you flip it, otherwise everything will just start coming apart. So you got to flip it at the right time. It's a big old hog, dude.
I don't know how we're gonna flip this over.
Let's check the tips all four corners.
At about 12 hours into the cook, the hog is nearly done, but needs one more component.
Sauce, and we mix it 50-50 with apple cider vinegar. So like a traditional Carolina style dressing is going to consist of usually
With the little insulated gloves.
Look at that, dude.
That's gnarly.
That's the wildest thing I've ever seen. It's throughout all of the South. Barbecue is huge here. But for whatever reason here, I'm cooking whole animals, and it always became this community gathering. So like the term pig picking like originated here because they would cook a whole hog for the whole community. So like everybody would be involved, and it kind of tore down barriers and created this place where people could like be a community. But I think that's what makes North Carolina barbecue special. And you can see it and how passionate people are about it.
All right, got some whole hog here. First time ever trying whole hog. So what part of the pig is this?
So it's a little bit of the belly and the ribs.
Okay, some of the best parts of the pig. Oh, dude. Is all of it? No possible way. All right, let's try it. Wow. Sometimes when you go to like the grocery store or something and you get like pork, sometimes it tastes too porky. But like, I think that's like, I don't know, like chemical or something, because the porkiness on this pig tastes so good. Like, it almost reminds me of like when you eat like a steak, like you want the steak to be beefy, right? Like, I don't think I've ever tasted pork taste like that before. And like the direct heat, like, that like char like flavor you're kind of like getting on it from the charcoals, like, man, that is insane. I can understand why people would say like brisket's not the best spot of barbecue. That is, like, I've never had anything like that before. That is so good. Crazy.
So in the middle of editing the video, I just realized that I had completely forgotten to drink the pointing, but more reason to go back to Damn Good Barbecue and have their delicious barbecue again. And if you want to know more about Damn Good Barbecue, you can watch my barbecue story that I made on them, which goes over all of their processes and also their delicious food. And you can see that by clicking the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you guys over there.